Oh, now still beats steady this heart I hand to you for free. Should you ever need a thing, it won't be hard to find me. Standing at the ready with a dance or two still left in me. Wager that it won't appear that I forgot who brought me.
We recommend listening to the CW Pod with a glass of Steeple Ridge Bourbon. Grown, distilled, well-rested, and bottled in Erling, Iowa. Now from the Channel Seed Studios, this is the CW Pod, fueled by Steeple Ridge.
What is up, friends? Welcome to a little impromptu CW Pod here from the Boston. I'm at the Courtyard downtown. It's actually a perfect location right by the garden. They usually have these media shuttles that will take you. They don't even have one because it's literally like a 2-minute walk to get there, so it's perfect. Want to thank our friend. The only problem I found with this city is there's no Steeple Ridge Bourbon anywhere. So Pat, if you're listening, if you can get us get a what do they call them, a distributor out here? Just kidding, but I do miss my Steeple Ridge Bourbon back in Iowa. You all should go pick up a bottle for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games this weekend. Both the men's and the women's about ready to get after it, and we'll have coverage for you all weekend long on Iowa Everywhere. Presenting sponsor again of the CW Pod is Steeple Ridge Bourbon. I am in the Channel Seed Studios, and I wanted to just go through and pick all of these games against the spread. Again, our sports betting partner in Iowa Everywhere is the DRF Sportsbook. Download their app today. They're always giving out fun promos, really good stuff at DRF. They are our exclusive partner now for sports betting at Iowa Everywhere. So when you download their app, it makes us look good, and then they maybe want to re-sign with us, which is always a good thing. So we need our audience, if you like our free content, to help us and to support our advertisers. All right, I'm just going to go through these 8 games. I'll have more analysis on some than I will others, but I have done quite a bit of work on these, and I want to give my picks. I will go against the spread. Aiden, will you do me a favor? Aiden Wyatt, come on in here. Let yourself into the program. So I am out of a sports betting state. Will you go and pull up the DRF spreads as I go through these? Because I don't have those here, is my point.
Damn shame.
And I could do it, but then I'm going to be like typing and stuff like that, and it's just it's not a great setup for a podcast. So let's get going. We will start with tonight's games. I have Clemson, and I'll take the 7.5 points against Arizona. I think Arizona wins the game. This Clemson team, though, they've got these 2 veteran guards, Gerard and Hunter, that I think can kind of neutralize Love in that Arizona backcourt. It just feels to me like this is a game. Yeah, Clemson's 7 now. Okay, so I'm on the right side of that. It's going the other way. So that means that I'm on the right side of that. DRF Sportsbook has it at +7. Yeah, they got their big man Hall. I think Arizona wins, and I want Arizona, North Carolina, and the Caleb Love thing so freaking bad in the Elite 8. Bring that on. And again, Arizona wins. Give me Clemson and the points. I really like this game. I'm going to go San Diego State. I'm going to take the 10.5 points against Yukon. A similar deal where I feel like Yukon wins. I was talking to some bartenders here. Hassel and I were discussing this yesterday on Two Guys Named Chris. Talking to some bartenders here, and this is up to 12.5 points on DRF, so I really like it now. So that means I'm on the wrong side of this one. But I will absolutely take 12.5 points. And the reason is, first of all, mad respect to Yukon, okay? One of the great analytical teams in the history of college basketball. Top 10 offense, top 10 defense. They've somehow gotten better since last year. It's going to be like a home game. I was talking to these bartenders about how crazy these Yukon fans are. This place is going to be packed tonight. So, like, the deck is stacked against San Diego State, but really good defensive team. They have bodies. Somewhat familiar with Yukon because they played them a year ago. 54 offense is what's scary about San Diego State. Here's my point. If San Diego State plays decent offensively, just decent, that's all they got to be. I like them to cover because I think their defense will keep them in this game. And again, there's familiarity there. San Diego State still is like this weird mid-major that the bettors don't love, even though they're not really a mid-major if you watch them. Give me the points. So I'm going with 2 underdogs to start tonight's Sweet 16 games. I'll do Iowa State, Illinois last. Give me North Carolina minus 4.5 over Alabama. Bama's a team I keep an eye on a lot. And this game on DRF has moved to 5.5. So good, I'm on the right side of this one. We're going to lay the 5.5 on DRF Sportsbook with North Carolina. Here's why. I've watched Bama a lot. I know their head coach pretty well. And 101 defense, and that's their concern. And they looked pretty good in the first and second round of the NCAA tournament, but they beat Charleston and Grand Canyon. This is a totally different deal. It's easy to, if you're not a defensive team, and I'm going to have the same analysis for Illinois, okay? When you're an average defensive team, it's easy to step it up against these mid-majors, tournament time, everybody's watching. Defense is something it comes from within, right? It's not, sure, you can coach it, but if you got a bunch of lazy guys who don't want to play it, it doesn't work that way. I like North Carolina to roll in this one. North Carolina plays both ways. They're a tournament team. Like they're a team that's built for the tournament. They're old. They're well coached. They play offense and defense, and I just think that this is an automatic for me. North Carolina minus 4.5 over Alabama. I don't trust Alabama against the elite competition defensively. You haven't been able to all year, and we get to this, and Carolina wants Arizona bad. Give me the heels. I'm going to lay the 5.5 at DRF Sportsbook. And welcome to the main event. Bum, bum, bum. Iowa State and Illinois. What is it with Iowa State fans and jock jams, anyways? I mean, when are we going to update that, Iowa State? Aiden, come in here real quick. Aiden is 22. When you're at the club, Aiden, and you're bumping, do they still play jock jams?
No, I don't think I've heard jock jams outside of an Iowa State sporting event for, well, probably my entire life, actually.
Then maybe they keep it.
Real. I think
if you're the only one doing it, because, yeah, I mean, it's better than Sweet Caroline. Like, Sweet Caroline is played everywhere. Like, the Juicy Wiggle thing is pure Iowa State. I'm
that's why I like it. Yeah. It's Iowa State's thing. It's not. Sweet Caroline is very much not an Iowa State thing, unfortunately.
No, it's a Boston thing. Yeah, anyways, y'all ready for this? The Williams pick. Okay, enough of that garbage. Iowa State at DRF Sportsbook is a 1.5 point favorite over Illinois. And I'm riding with Iowa State here. I said when the bracket came out, I liked the matchup in terms of style for Iowa State versus Illinois. And I did a massive deep dive on Illinois yesterday. I spent so much time on Illinois, hung around their team. I watched their practice. I was obsessed over their analytics, and this is what I've come up with, and I think this is really interesting. I want to be really clear that this doesn't mean everything. But Chris Hassel astutely pointed out to me, like, that who was Illinois beaten? Well, I'll tell you. I have their whole resume right here. The best wins Illinois has this year against Nebraska and Wisconsin. Good wins, tournament teams. However, during this 6-game winning streak that the Illini are on, the average defensive rating of teams Illinois has gone up against is 77.2. The best defensive team Illinois has played is Duquesne, ranked 31st. Illinois hasn't played a top 10 defense since December 9th when they lost to Tennessee. That is the only top 10 defense Illinois has played all year. They beat the 116th and 87th ranked teams to get to the Sweet 16. Now, on the other end, they are an elite offense, okay? I'm not disrespecting this team. This game is a total coin flip tonight. I'm looking for an edge, though. Iowa State's 5-3 against top 20 offensive teams this season. If you're going off of that, I do like the Cyclones in this one. I do like the Cyclones in this one. I just think that Brad Underwood was awesome yesterday, by the way. I think he's a phenomenal coach. I think he's phenomenal. He was talking about Iowa State's defense and how you really can't prep for it. It's impossible to prepare for. And boy, I think that's going to be true tonight. I think Iowa State will go into this game and I do believe, and this is such a real thing in the tournament, guys and gals listening, that how this game is chosen to be officiated is going to have a major impact on it. And it's not an excuse for either school. It's just that's part of the tournament, right? Like the Houston game the other night is a great example. They were blowing every whistle. And, hey, like that's the tournament. You got to be able to kick out, right? I'm a WWE guy. You got to be able to kick out. Houston barely got its right arm up, right? And if this is a game tonight where every whistle is blown, Illinois is probably going to win. But first 2 games of the tournament, the officials have really let Iowa State play for the most part. And other teams don't like that. So be really interesting to see how the game is officiated. But I like Iowa State. Brian's asking, he's watching on YouTube, why are the pundits so set against Iowa State? I think that it's an offense versus defense thing, right? Like most people prefer good offense to good defense. And I simply think it's that. They're really hot. There's more of a name brand there with Illinois as far as these national things go. That would be my answer to it. Again, this is a 50-50 game. Vegas has this thing, it's almost dead even. Okay, so this is not like some slam dunk, I think. But I just think that in breaking down this matchup as much as I have, the one thing that can't happen is Iowa State can't go out and start 3 of 16 like they did against Washington State. They will lose. If Iowa State is average to good offensively, I like their chances tonight. They just can't be bad. So give me the Clones minus 1.5. We'll go to tomorrow's games. This is my least favorite pick of all of these. I don't like these games as much, but we're going to roll with them. I'll take Creighton plus 3 against Tennessee. I think the committee underseeded and probably kind of screwed the Big East, giving them only 3 teams. I think the Big East is better than we think, and that's why I would take Creighton in the plus 3. The Tennessee's really good, right? So this game is really hard to pick. I wouldn't bet on this with Hassel's money. I will take Marquette as well. This is part of my parlay. So now we have my DRF parlay, and I know Aiden has that ready for us. This is to get you about plus 600. We're gonna take Marquette minus 6.5 against NC State. We're going to take Purdue. I think it's at 5 now against Gonzaga. And my favorite play for Friday by far is Houston minus 4 against Duke. I think Houston bounces back and goes nuts. The other thing about Purdue, we all get kind of trendy and we're like, oh, we can't trust Purdue in the tournament. Yeah, but they're older now. And I also don't think these officials know how to officiate Zach Edey anymore. If you watch, he gets favorable treatment. And it's not like, oh, the game's rigged. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the guy is so unique. I don't think these officials know how to officiate him because it's so different than everything else. So I like Purdue, and I think they may get all the way to the championship game. I'm really high on them. They're at a different level. I know they've lost some games, but I really like them against the Zags. I really like Houston. The Marquette NC State would be my least favorite pick because NC State's got the big dude. But I'm going on this pick again. I like the Big East, and I'm fading the double-digit seed more than anything because I think with this tournament specifically, the cream is kind of rising, and there's a reason, like I think first time since 1979, there's been all the 1 and 2 seeds have advanced to the Sweet 16. Like that's not an accident. Like that's just I just think the nature of this tournament. In my bracket with 2 guys named Chris, I picked all 4 number 1 seeds to go to the Final Four, which is crazy. Like that never happens. But that's the feel I've had for this tournament. It's just been in my gut since I first looked at the bracket, so I'm going to stick with it. I've been right so far. I may blow up tonight. I doubt it, though. I still think, the 4 number 1, I think Houston's shaky if you get to the Elite 8. I love them off of some rest. I don't see them having a defensive stinker like they did the other night. And what's the narrative about Duke? Is it fair? I don't know, but people call them soft. Well, what is Houston? They're tough. It's a bad matchup for Duke. Gonzaga has come on strong. God, they were on the bubble like a month ago. Purdue. And again, I'm fading the double-digit seed. It has more to do with that than it does anything. And I just think the Big East. I will say this too. I think in the next 5 years, the Big East greatly challenges the Big 12 to be the best conference in college basketball. Just because of the football aspect. In the world of NIL, Creighton's cash roll over there is insane. They don't have to pay football players. Marquette doesn't have to pay football. Villanova doesn't have to pay football. Georgetown doesn't have to pay football. Seton Hall, all these teams. And you're not seeing it yet, but and this is a conference, and I think that's what Brett Yormark's really trying to do with the Big 12 is the Big East exists because it's a bunch of basketball junkies that created it. And I think Yormark is leaning into that. You watch in the next 5 years, I truly believe this. In the next 5 to 10 years, I believe Duke, Louisville, Gonzaga, maybe San Diego State are all members of the Big 12. Oh, scratching you right where you itch, aren't I? Then Yormark is selling a second television contract, basketball only, and that's financially how the Big 12 survives. Or Chris Stradamus on a Thursday. But think about it, all these football schools are trying to get to the Big 12 or the Big 10 and the SEC, which is smart. I get it. So like Clemson and Florida State are like, screw you, we're out. Well, what are these middling ACC schools going to do? They're not just going to sit there and die. So you're going to get NC State, North Carolina will be in the Big Ten. You're going to get NC State, you're going to get Duke, Louisville, and Pitt. They're all going to the Big 12. Did I just blow your mind? Just saying. He's going to try and create like this little mini NBA thing, and it may work and it may not. And I don't necessarily like it, but I'm rolling with it. And if you're Duke, why? Like, there's way worse spots to land. Like, all you care about is basketball, anyways. Why don't you go to the conference that's going to invest the most in basketball? Can't go to the Big East because you have football. So there you have it. Appreciate our friends. I see Lonely Oak is commenting here. We appreciate your guys' sponsorship of the CW Pod here on Iowa Everywhere so much. We are in the Channel Seed Studios. So those are my picks. I'll go through them one more time. I'm taking all of these against the spread. Clemson, San Diego State, Iowa State, North Carolina, Creighton, Marquette, Purdue, and Houston. Boom. Going to be a late night tonight. Iowa State won't tip off until like 10:30 locally here in Boston. We appreciate all of you watching. God, over like 1,000 of you hanging out here with us unpromoted. We just show up and you guys are here. People in our industry don't thank the audience enough. We couldn't do anything we do without you. So thank you for supporting us and our sponsors. Thanks to Aiden Wyatt for production. He is my little lifesaver these days. And we appreciate his contributions always to Iowa Everywhere. All right, I'm out. I'm going to go and I'm going to go find Paul Revere's house. I'm going to go take a leak in Paul Revere's backyard. I'm kidding. I'm not. It is pouring here. I can't do anything today. It sucks. I'm going to be stuck in this hotel room. All right, I'm out. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.